Most people don't lose because they're weak. They lose because their own mind turns against them. The battlefield isn't out there. It's in your head, and it's relentless. If you don't master it, it will master you. This audiobook is a motivation. It's mental armor. You're about to learn how to rewire your mind for pressure, chaos, and domination, because the world doesn't reward the comfortable. It rewards the mentally unshakable. Chapter 1. Stop negotiating with your weakness. You hear it every day. That voice in your head. It's quiet at first, but then it grows louder, more insistent. You deserve a break. It whispers. Tomorrow will be better. Just take the day off. It sounds logical, doesn't it? It's convincing. It's comforting. But here's the truth. That voice isn't compassion. That voice is sabotage. The moment you listen, the moment you negotiate with your weakness, you lose. You don't get stronger. You don't get better. You just confirm your own excuses. And that is a dangerous habit. Let me be clear. Negotiating with your weakness is the quickest path to failure. Every time you justify why you can't, why you shouldn't, or why you'll do it later, you give away your power. The world isn't won by those who debate. It's won by those who decide. You have a choice. You can either lead yourself or you can follow your weakness. The key to mastering your mind is making that choice without hesitation. Winners decide once. They don't ask for permission. They don't check if they feel like it. They decide and then they move. Think about this. How many times have you talked yourself out of doing something? How many times have you told yourself, I'll do it tomorrow? That's the voice of weakness, convincing you that it's okay to put things off. But it's never okay. Tomorrow is just an illusion, an empty promise. Tomorrow doesn't exist. All that exists is right now. You see, the moment you negotiate with weakness, you are choosing to stay where you are. You are choosing comfort. You're choosing convenience. And you're choosing to remain small. The world rewards the mentally strong, not the ones who indulge their comfort. And comfort is a trap. It's a trap designed to keep you stuck in the same place, keep you stuck with the same excuses. It's not about how you feel. It's about your standards. And your standards are what separate the successful from the rest. Your feelings, your doubts, your comfort, they don't get to decide what you do or don't do. Your standards do. So how do you stop negotiating? How do you stop listening to that voice that tells you to quit? It's simple. You stop engaging with it. Every time that voice pops up, you must respond with command. You don't argue. You don't reason with it. You don't need to explain anything. You simply declare your decision and move on. The mantra is simple, but it's powerful. My feelings don't decide. My standards do. Repeat that. Say it out loud. Let it become your default response to any mental resistance. Because here's the reality. Success doesn't care about how you feel. It doesn't care if you're tired, if you're frustrated, if you're scared. It cares about what you do. And if you're always waiting for the perfect time or the perfect conditions, you'll wait forever. There will always be an excuse. There will always be a reason to hold back. But what separates those who succeed and those who fail is their ability to act in spite of their feelings. The successful know that they can't trust their emotions. They know that their feelings can lie. Action is the only truth. You don't feel ready? So what? Do it anyway. You don't feel confident? Doesn't matter. Do it anyway. Every single time you act, you win. Every time you push through that mental resistance, you grow stronger. Every time you shut down that voice that says just wait or just take a break, you build mental fortitude. It's like lifting weights for your mind. It doesn't happen overnight, but the more you do it, the stronger you become. Now, think about this. The world doesn't reward the people who talk about what they're going to do. The world rewards those who decide and execute. You don't need anyone's permission. You don't need the perfect conditions. You don't need to feel good. You just need to act. So, how do we stop negotiating? We start with one decision. Decide, once and for all, that you are no longer willing to make excuses. You are no longer willing to negotiate. It's not about feeling ready or waiting for the right time. It's about raising your standards. It's about refusing to accept anything less than your best. Here's a powerful exercise to start rewiring your brain. For the next 30 days, make one decision a day and stick to it. No exceptions. No excuses. No reasoning. Just do it. It doesn't matter how small the task is. The key isn't in the size of the decision. It's in the consistency. Every time you make a decision and commit to it, you build strength. Every time you act in the face of resistance, you reinforce a habit of self-mastery. But here's the catch. If you fail, if you fall off track, don't beat yourself up. That's not the point. The point is to practice discipline over feelings. The point is to stop asking for permission. The point is to always choose your standards, not your comfort. As you move forward, remember this. You are the only one who can stop you. No one else. No outside force. No external factor. It's all you. And the moment you stop negotiating with your weakness is the moment you stop losing. It's the moment you start winning. That's the key. Winners don't negotiate with weakness. They decide once and they act. Now that you understand this, the next step is even more crucial. You've learned how to stop negotiating with your weakness, but there's one thing that holds most people back. It's pressure. The pressure to perform, to deliver, to succeed. It can either make or break you. But here's the truth. Pressure is not your enemy. Pressure is a test. And it's only through pressure that you reveal your true strength. Let's dive into this in Chapter 2. Pressure is the proof you're growing. Chapter 2. Pressure is the proof you're growing. Pressure. You feel it every time life pushes back. Every time things get hard. Every time the world demands more from you than you think you can give. And most people run from it. Most people break under it. But not you, not anymore. Because from this point forward, you will see pressure for what it truly is. Proof. Proof that you're growing. Proof that you're leveling up. Proof that you're stepping into the version of yourself you've been avoiding. You see, pressure isn't punishment. It's feedback. It's your mind and body telling you that you're in motion, that you're stretching beyond your limits. That's the key. Pressure is the signal that you are not the same. But here's the problem. Most people interpret pressure as a problem. They think discomfort means something's wrong. They think stress means they're failing. They think struggle means they should stop. That's wrong. That's the trap. Pressure doesn't mean stop. Pressure means you're in the arena. And that's where growth happens, never outside it. Ask any elite athlete. Ask any soldier. Ask anyone who's forged themselves through fire. They'll tell you the same truth. You don't get stronger in comfort. You get stronger under pressure. A boxer doesn't grow by shadow boxing in his living room. A soldier doesn't harden by reading about war. Pressure is the forge. It's the test. It's the heat that transforms who you are. That's the key. Pressure transforms. The average mind escapes it. The strong mind expands through it. So the next time you feel that tension in your chest, that knot in your stomach, that rising sense that things are too much, pause, breathe, and tell yourself, this is proof. You have a choice in that moment. You can either interpret pressure as pain or as proof. That's your power. That's your freedom. Because pressure reveals what's inside you. It shows you your true capacity. When life applies force, weak foundations crumble. Strong foundations adapt. And you get to decide which one you are. Listen, Growth and comfort cannot coexist. You cannot evolve and stay the same. You cannot reach new levels without new levels of pressure. That's the law of expansion, the law of mastery. Think of a diamond. What creates it? Pressure. Think of a muscle. What builds it? Resistance. Think of your mind. What sharpens it? Challenge. You can't have power without pressure. You can't have strength without struggle. Most people want growth without the grind. They want evolution without endurance. But that's not how the world works. That's not how you grow. So let's be direct. If you're feeling pressure right now, that means you're exactly where you should be. That's not punishment. That's confirmation. Say it with me. Pressure doesn't crush me. It confirms me. Again, pressure doesn't crush me. It confirms me. Let that phrase burn into your brain. Because the next time you face a storm, you won't run. You'll remember this isn't happening to you. It's happening for you. Pressure isn't the enemy. Avoidance is. Avoidance kills potential faster than failure ever will. Avoidance whispers, back off. Mastery says, lean in. You have a choice. When things get hard, the weak ask, why me? The strong ask, what is this teaching me? That's the shift. That's the difference. It's not about comfort. It's about capacity. Pressure forces you to confront your limits, and if you stay in it long enough, it breaks those limits. Think of it like lifting weights. The first time you lift, the bar feels heavy. Your muscles shake. You fail the rep. But what happens if you keep showing up? Your body adapts. Your strength grows. The same bar that crushed you last week now feels lighter. That's exactly how mental strength works. Every challenge you face, every pressure you endure, expands your capacity. Pressure teaches you how to breathe under tension, how to focus under chaos, how to think clearly when everything is shaking. And that's the skill the world rewards. The calm mind under fire, the steady hand under stress, the leader who doesn't flinch when things go wrong. That's mastery. That's control. And it's earned under pressure. So let's make this practical. The next time you feel pressure, at work, in a relationship, in your training, in your goals, stop escaping. Stop labeling it as too much. Instead, label it as growth. When you feel tension, don't collapse. Expand. When your body says, I can't, say, watch me. When your mind screams enough, whisper, I'm just getting started. That's the reframe. That's how you train your brain to love pressure. You don't run from it. You run toward it. Because the more pressure you can handle, the more power you can hold. You want a bigger life? Learn to carry heavier weight. You want real freedom? Learn to stand calm inside the storm. You want mastery? Learn to smile under strain. Pressure isn't your enemy. Pressure is your evolution. Pressure is a signal that you're stepping into your next level. And the moment you learn to see it that way, nothing can stop you. You'll stop asking for easy days. You'll start asking for tests. You'll stop begging for comfort. You'll start craving challenge. Because you'll understand what most people never learn. Pressure builds power. That's the secret of every warrior, every elite performer, every champion. They don't avoid pressure. They invite it. They seek it because they know. If it's heavy, it's helping. If it's uncomfortable, it's working. If it's difficult, it's developing them. So remember this. When life presses down, don't break. Breathe. When the weight gets heavy, don't step back. Dig deeper. Pressure doesn't destroy you. It defines you. Say it one more time, louder this time. Pressure doesn't crush me. It confirms me. You've stopped negotiating with your weakness. You've learned to embrace pressure. But now there's another trap, one that destroys more potential than failure ever will. It's called comfort. Comfort that feels safe, but suffocates your growth. comfort that seduces you into mediocrity. You're ready to break that cycle. Let's go there now. Chapter 3. Comfort is a cage with cushions. Chapter 3. Comfort is a cage with cushions. Comfort feels good, doesn't it? It's soft. It's warm. It's familiar. It tells you you're fine right where you are. But comfort is a liar. Comfort is a trap. And if you're not careful, comfort will quietly destroy your potential. Comfort promises safety but kills growth. That's the truth. It whispers that you're doing okay, when deep down you know you're not even close to what you could be. It tells you to slow down, to take it easy, to not push too hard. But that's the voice of stagnation. That's the voice of mediocrity. Let's call it what it is. Comfort is a silent killer of progress. It doesn't scream. It doesn't hurt. It doesn't warn you. It just numbs you little by little until your hunger disappears, your edge dulls, and your fire dies. You see, the danger of comfort is that it feels earned. You tell yourself, I've worked hard. I deserve this. But the truth is, the moment you start believing you've earned rest before you've achieved mastery, you've already started falling backward. That's the paradox. The second you think you've made it, you begin to lose it. Comfort is not peace. It's paralysis dressed up as satisfaction. And that's the key. It's not about peace. It's about progress. Every person you admire, every story of greatness, every legacy worth remembering was built by someone who refused to get comfortable. They stayed uncomfortable on purpose. They treated comfort as a warning sign, not a reward. Think about it. The athlete who wins once and stops training loses everything. The business owner who settles for good enough gets overtaken by hungrier competition. The artist who stops experimenting becomes irrelevant. Comfort kills momentum, and momentum is everything. You have a choice. You can live in the cage of comfort, soft, padded, safe, or you can live in the wild, where growth happens. But you can't have both. You can't live soft and grow strong. You can't play safe and play big. The mind grows through discomfort, just like muscles grow through resistance. That's not a metaphor. That's biology. When you lift a heavy weight, your muscles tear. They break. They get damaged. But when they heal, they come back stronger. That's how strength is built, through stress and recovery. And your mind works the same way. When you challenge yourself, when you take risks, when you push into the unknown, your mind strains. It resists. It hurts. But that's how you expand your limits. That's how you adapt. That's how you grow. Comfort tells you to avoid that pain. Comfort says, you don't need to push today. You're fine. But what comfort really means is stay small. Let me give you a real example. There's a reason why so many people stay in jobs they hate. It's not because they lack options. It's because they're comfortable. They know the routine. They know the paycheck. They know what to expect. And so they trade growth for predictability. They trade passion for comfort. And one day, they wake up realizing they built a life they never wanted, a life inside a cushioned cage. That's what comfort does. It lulls you to sleep. You stop asking questions. You stop chasing more. You stop demanding greatness from yourself. Because why bother? You're comfortable. But let me tell you something that will sting a little. Comfort will cost you everything you say you want. Your dreams, your power, your purpose, all of it. You can't have comfort and growth at the same time. You must choose. And here's the truth no one tells you. Discomfort is where all the magic happens. Discomfort is where you find out who you really are. When you step into uncertainty, when you face challenges that scare you, when you keep going even when it hurts, that's when you evolve. So if your life feels too easy right now, that's not success. That's a red flag, because easy doesn't change you. Easy doesn't test you. Easy doesn't build you. You have to get addicted to the challenge, addicted to the stretch. Because the moment you stop stretching, you start shrinking. Here's the truth. The pain you avoid is the strength you never gain. Let that sink in. Every time you take the easy way out, you rob yourself of the lesson, of the resilience, of the strength that struggle was trying to give you. Pain is not punishment. Pain is instruction. That's the key. So what do? You build a habit of stepping into discomfort on purpose. Every day, in small ways, train your brain to lean into resistance. When you want to sleep in, get up anyway. When you want to procrastinate, start anyway. When you want to say, I can't, do it anyway. That's how you build mental toughness. Stop chasing comfort. Chase challenge. Stop chasing easy. Chase evolution. Stop chasing pleasure. Chase purpose. You don't need anyone's permission to push harder. You don't need a perfect plan. You just need the willingness to be uncomfortable long enough to change. Because growth is uncomfortable. Always has been. Always will be. But that's the point. That's how you separate yourself from everyone else who gave up when it got hard. They settled for soft. You're built for more. Remember this. Comfort isn't a reward, it's a warning. If you feel too good for too long, you're not growing. If everything feels safe, you've stopped expanding. And if you've stopped expanding, you've already started dying. You have a choice. You can stay comfortable and shrink. Or you can step into discomfort and rise. That's the real decision of life. Comfort or growth. Cage or freedom. Repeat this until it becomes part of you. Comfort will cost me everything I say I want. Say it again. Comfort will cost me everything I say I want. That's your mantra now. That's your truth. So here's your challenge. Find one area of your life where you've gotten too comfortable. It might be your job, your body, your relationships, your routine. Wherever it is, break it, disrupt it, step into the discomfort, because the discomfort is the doorway. The moment you stop seeking comfort, the moment you start chasing growth, your entire life will shift. You'll find power in the pain. You'll find clarity in the challenge. You'll find freedom in the resistance. Comfort may look safe, but it's not. It's the slow death of everything you could become. Don't let it win. Don't let it cage you. You've learned to stop negotiating with weakness. You've learned to see pressure as proof. Now you know comfort is the quiet enemy. But there's something even more powerful than breaking comfort. It's learning to control what controls you. Because the next level of mastery is mental narrative. The voice inside your head that decides your reality. And that's where we go next. Chapter 4. Control the narrative or be controlled by it. Chapter 4. Control the narrative or be controlled by it. Everything starts with a story. The story you tell yourself about who you are. The story you tell yourself about what you can do. And the story you tell yourself about what's possible. That story becomes your life. Because here's the truth. Your brain believes the story you repeat. Every word you think, every phrase you say, every sentence that runs through your head, your brain treats it as a command. So, let's get one thing straight. Negative self-talk isn't harmless. It's hypnosis. You are literally programming yourself every time you speak, whether you know it or not. You say, I'm not confident. Your brain hears a command, be unconfident. You say, I'm terrible under pressure. Your brain responds, yes, let's panic more next time. You say, I'm just not that kind of person. Your brain locks the door. It stops trying. You become what you repeatedly say. That's the key. You don't describe your limits. You define them. And that's the trap most people live in. They narrate their own defeat every single day. They talk themselves into failure. They convince themselves that struggle means weakness, that fear means stop, that mistakes mean I'm not enough. But here's the truth. It's not the failure that breaks you. It's the story you tell yourself about the failure. It's not the pressure that crushes you. It's the narrative you attach to that pressure. You have a choice. You could be the victim of your story, or you could be the author of it. The mind is a storyteller. It has to explain what's happening. But most people let that story run on autopilot. They never edit it. They never question it. And so they live out the same script over and over again. Different year, same story. You want transformation? Start by changing the script. You want freedom? Start by taking control of the narrative. That's what the great ones do. Elite performers, athletes, leaders, warriors. They all have one thing in common. They control their story. They use language like a weapon. They speak with precision. They command their mental state through deliberate self-talk. When a Navy SEAL is dropped into chaos, he doesn't say, "This is too much." He says, "I'm built for this." When an athlete misses a shot, he doesn't say, "I'm terrible." He says, "Next one's mine." When a fighter steps into the ring, he doesn't think, "I hope I don't lose." He thinks, "I attack." That's the difference. They use language to lead their mind, not to follow it. They know emotion follows focus, and focus follows language. That's the key. If you want to change how you feel, change how you speak. If you want to change your life, change your internal dialogue. You don't need anyone's permission to reframe your story. You don't need anyone's validation to rewrite your narrative. You just need to decide that the old story no longer serves you. Because here's the thing, your brain doesn't care whether your story is true. It only cares whether you repeat it. Repetition equals belief, and belief equals behavior. That's how the mind works. You repeat something long enough, and it becomes your reality. You say, "I'm not disciplined enough times," and soon you'll stop even trying to be. You say, "I always mess things up," and your brain will help you prove yourself right. But here's the good news. That same mechanism can be turned into your greatest advantage. You can rewire your brain by rewriting your words. You can use the same repetition that once trapped you to now train you. It's not about lying to yourself. It's about leading yourself. It's about deciding what kind of narrative fuels your growth instead of your excuses. Start with your language. Catch the moments where you weaken yourself with your words. Replace them instantly. "I'm nervous" becomes "I'm ready." "I'm overwhelmed" becomes "I'm adapting." "I can't handle this" becomes "I was built for this." That's how you shift your identity. Not through fantasy, not through fake motivation, through repetition, through deliberate reframing, through daily command of your inner dialogue. You have to understand this. Your thoughts are not facts. They're options, and you choose which ones to reinforce. That's power. That's control. You can either let your thoughts tell you who you are, or you can tell them who you are. That's the difference between drifting and leading. You don't describe your limits. You define your reality. Say it again. I don't describe my limits. I define my reality. Because the truth is, your brain doesn't know the difference between imagination and experience. It reacts to what you feed it. If you keep feeding it weakness, it will produce weakness. If you keep feeding it strength, it will produce strength. That's why elite minds train their self-talk like a discipline. Every morning, every workout, every meeting, they speak power. They speak clarity. They speak control. They know the mind is programmable, and they're the programmers. You can do the same. All it takes is awareness, intention, and repetition. So here's your exercise. For the next week, every time you catch yourself saying something negative, stop. Don't argue with it. Don't overanalyze it. Just rewrite it. Immediately replace weakness with power. Replace fear with focus. Replace hesitation with action. Because that's the key. Your story doesn't change when life changes. Your story changes when you change it. You can't control every circumstance, but you can always control the narrative you attach to it. You lose the moment you surrender that control. You win the moment you reclaim it. And once you understand that, your world begins to shift. You stop reacting. You start creating. You stop describing your pain. You start defining your purpose. That's mastery. That's mental command. Repeat it until it becomes part of you. I don't describe my limits. I define my reality. Again, I don't describe my limits. I define my reality. You've learned how to stop negotiating with your weakness. You've learned how to turn pressure into proof. You've learned how to escape the comfort that cages you. And now, you know how to command your story, the single most powerful tool in your arsenal. But there's one more layer to this mastery, one that separates those who think clearly from those who get consumed by their emotions. It's not about what you think. It's about what you do when your emotions rise. Because emotion is pure energy, and that energy must be directed. If you don't control it, it will control you. So let's learn how to master it. Chapter 5. Emotion is energy. Direct it or drown in it. Emotion is not weakness. Emotion is not chaos. Emotion is energy. And like all energy, it can either power you or destroy you. That's the truth most people miss. They think emotional control means emotional suppression. They try to bury it, hide it, pretend it's not there. But buried emotion doesn't disappear. It festers. It builds pressure. And sooner or later, it explodes. Here's the truth. Emotions aren't your enemies. They're untrained power. Raw energy waiting for direction. Anger, fear, doubt, frustration, even sadness. Every one of them contains fuel. But if you don't control that fuel, it burns you. If you don't direct that current, it drowns you. That's the difference between destruction and dominance. You have a choice. You can drown in your emotion, or you can direct it. You can react, or you can respond. That's the key. Let's break it down. Anger isn't bad. It's a signal. It tells you something feels off. Something needs to change. Uncontrolled, it becomes rage. It blinds you. Directed, it becomes power. It sharpens your focus. That's the difference. Fear isn't weakness. It's awareness. It alerts you to danger, to risk, to consequence. Uncontrolled, it paralyzes you. Directed, it prepares you. That's how warriors use fear, as fuel for readiness, not retreat. Doubt isn't defeat. It's a challenge. It asks, are you ready? Are you real? Uncontrolled, it becomes hesitation. Directed, it becomes preparation. That's the mindset of the elite. They let doubt refine them, not define them. Emotion is neutral until you give it direction. That's the law. Discipline is emotional control in action, not denial, not suppression. Control, it's the difference between reacting and responding. Reaction is reflex. Response is choice. Reaction is emotion owning you. Response is you owning emotion. You have a choice every single time. When anger hits, you can lash out or you can lock in. When fear hits, you can freeze or you can focus. When doubt hits, you can crumble or you can commit. That's emotional discipline. That's leadership of the self. Most people lose that battle. They live like slaves to their emotional state. A bad morning ruins their day. A small insult derails their week. They surrender control every time they feel something. You can't lead your life that way. If your emotions decide your actions, you're not leading. You're following your impulses. And impulses don't care about your goals. They only care about comfort and reaction. You want to build something extraordinary? Then master the moment before reaction. That split second between feeling and action. That's where your power lives. That's where discipline lives. That's where control begins. Here's the mantra. Feel it. Focus it. Fire it. Say it again. Feel it. Focus it. Fire it. You don't ignore emotion. You don't run from it. You feel it. Acknowledge it. Let it rise. Then you focus it. Aim it toward your purpose. Then you fire it. Take action with precision, not panic. That's how you turn emotional chaos into controlled combustion. That's how you turn pain into progress. Think of it like a fighter in the ring. He feels fear before every fight, the heart racing, the adrenaline surge. He doesn't fight it. He channels it. He turns that fear into focus, that tension into timing, that energy into aggression, because he knows emotion is not the enemy. Misuse of emotion is. Or think of an athlete on the field. The crowd's roaring. The stakes are high. Pressure's everywhere. Emotion is boiling. Excitement, anxiety, intensity. If he lets it consume him, he chokes. If he channels it, he dominates. It's not about avoiding the feeling. It's about mastering the direction. Feel it. Focus it. Fire it. This is how you convert emotional turbulence into momentum. This is how you stay composed when the world shakes. You train yourself to observe before you act. You train yourself to pause before you speak. You train yourself to use emotion as fuel, not proof of weakness. Because here's the truth. Emotion amplifies whatever it touches. If it touches doubt, it magnifies fear. If it touches purpose, it magnifies power. That's why you must give it the right target. You are not here to be emotionless. You are here to be emotionally disciplined, to lead your emotions like a commander leads his troops. They serve your mission, not sabotage it. When you feel anger, ask, where does this energy belong? When you feel fear, ask, what action does this prepare me for? When you feel doubt, ask, what skill do I need to strengthen? That's emotional mastery, converting chaos into clarity. But it won't happen by accident. You have to train it. Just like muscles, emotional control grows through resistance. When you practice staying calm under stress, you grow stronger. When you pause before reacting, you grow sharper. When you turn frustration into fuel, you grow unstoppable. Every emotional spike is a training opportunity. Every storm is a chance to prove you can steer through it. That's how champions are built, not by avoiding emotion, but by directing it. So, when the next wave hits, and it will, don't run from it. Stand there. Feel it. Don't drown in it. Direct it. Use it to build momentum, not make excuses. Because that's the truth of greatness. It's not the absence of emotion that makes you strong. It's your ability to use it precisely, purposefully, powerfully. So say it again, make it your anchor. Feel it, focus it, fire it. That's your command sequence. That's how you stay dangerous in the calm and calm in the chaos. You've learned to rewrite your story. Now you've learned to command your emotional energy. Next, it's time to master the space where most people waste their potential, the space between action and recovery. Because recovery isn't weakness, it's strategy. And discipline doesn't just mean pushing, it means pacing. Chapter 6. You don't rise to goals, you sink to habits. You don't rise to your goals, you sink to your habits. That's the brutal truth. That's the reason most people fail. They think success is about aiming higher. It's not. It's about operating better. Goals are fantasies without systems. Anyone can dream. Anyone can set an intention. But when the moment of pressure comes, when fatigue, stress, and distraction hit, you don't act from your goals. You act from your habits. That's the key. Your brain doesn't default to your ambition. It defaults to your conditioning. And if your conditioning is weak, your performance will collapse under weight. You don't need another motivational high. You need a behavioral foundation. You need habits that hold you up when emotion lets you down. Say it, my habits reveal my truth. My systems create my future. That's not just a quote, it's a mirror. Because what you do daily exposes what you truly value. Not what you say you value. What you practice. You say you want discipline, but do your habits prove it? You say you want growth, but do your systems sustain it? Because talk doesn't transform. Structure does. Let's break it down. When you wake up, you're not deciding who to become. You're repeating who you've trained yourself to be. That's what habits do. They automate your identity. Every repetition reinforces a version of you that either wins or wastes time. Habits are subconscious decisions made visible. Every action, every routine, every pattern. It's a reflection of your internal wiring. And here's the truth. Under pressure, you always fall to your level of training. That's why goals don't save you when things get hard. Systems do. The soldier doesn't rely on motivation in battle. He relies on drills. The athlete doesn't rise to the moment. He falls to his repetitions. The leader doesn't guess under stress. He defaults to systems. That's what separates consistent excellence from emotional amateurs. You have a choice. You can build habits that serve you or habits that sabotage you. You can let your days run on autopilot, or you can design your defaults with intention. That's the key. Stop thinking your life changes because you want more. It changes because you do differently. Your brain learns through repetition, not inspiration. You don't need to get motivated. You need to get consistent. You don't need to set goals. You need to build systems. Because here's the truth. Systems beat intensity every time. You can work hard for a day, or you can work smart for a decade. You can get fired up on Monday, or you can build patterns that run without your permission. Think about that. The real freedom is when discipline becomes default. When your habits carry you forward even on your worst days. That's power. Every habit you reinforce becomes a vote for your future self. Every lazy decision is a vote for your past. Which one are you electing every day? Your habits tell the truth. Your results never lie. So stop saying, I'll try. Start saying, I'll train. Because try is emotional. Train is structural. Try depends on how you feel. Train depends on what you built. You don't need their permission. You don't need another plan. You need pattern mastery. Let's get practical. Here's how transformation actually happens. Step 1. Identify your keystone habits, the small daily actions that create ripple effects across your life. Wake time, workout, nutrition, reading, reflection. Simple, repeatable, measurable. Step 2. Anchor them to non-negotiables. Attach each habit to something that already happens every day, like brushing your teeth, making coffee, or shutting down your computer. That's how behavior locks in, through association. Step 3. Track progress, not perfection. Because habits aren't built on emotion, they're built on consistency. If you miss once, restart. Never miss twice. That's how systems replace self-sabotage. Most people live reactively. They wait to feel ready. They rely on bursts of motivation. But the elite, they removed emotion from execution. They don't feel their way into action. They act their way into feeling. That's the shift. You can't control your feelings every day, but you can control your habits. And when habits control your day, your feelings eventually fall in line. You have to build discipline into the structure of your day, not the mood of your day. You brush your teeth every morning not because you're inspired, but because it's programmed. That's how your success habits must operate. Automatic, effortless, expected. Because the truth is simple. Excellence is not an act. It's a system. Discipline is not motivation. It's automation. Your habits are the invisible architecture of your life. They predict your trajectory more accurately than your dreams. Because in the end, you don't become what you want. You become what you repeat. And when pressure comes, because it will, you will not rise to your ambition. You will sink to your preparation. That's why the greats are great. They train their habits until they can't fail them. Say it again, my habits reveal my truth. My systems create my future. If you build weak systems, you'll live in constant cycles of burnout and restart. If you build strong systems, you'll rise effortlessly through chaos. It's not about willpower, it's about wiring. So, stop chasing motivation. Start crafting automation. Build a day that builds a man. Build a routine that reinforces the identity. Build a system that removes the choice to quit. That's how you master your mind, by programming it to serve your mission, not sabotage it. So ask yourself right now, what are the habits that hold me back? What are the systems that will save me? Because the truth is simple. Success is not a mystery. It's maintenance. Discipline is not punishment. It's preparation. You don't rise to your goals. You sink to your habits. And when your habits are built to win, you never have to fight to start again. You've learned to control your emotions and direct your energy. Now it's time to build a structure that protects that energy. Because control without order is chaos in disguise. Chapter 7. Thought discipline is the ultimate weapon. You want to master your life? Start by mastering your mind. Because mental chaos always becomes external chaos. If your thoughts are scattered, your life will be too. If your mind is noisy, your path will be foggy. If you don't discipline your thoughts, you'll always be at the mercy of them. That's the truth most people ignore. They try to organize their lives without organizing their minds. They clean their desks but never clean their thinking. They chase clarity in their goals while drowning in mental clutter. You can't lead yourself if you can't lead your thoughts. That's the key. Every day, your mind is under attack. Distraction, doubt, drama, endless noise from social media, opinions, notifications, and fear. If you don't control your attention, the world will control it for you. And once they have your attention, they have your time. Once they have your time, they have your potential. That's how mediocrity wins, not by force, but by fragments. You have a choice. You can let your mind wander into weakness, or you can train it into weaponry. That's the difference between people who drift and people who dominate. Thought discipline is the ultimate weapon, because when you can command your mind, you can command your actions. And when you can command your actions, you can command your results. That's how it works. Inside out, never outside in. Let's make this simple. Your attention is a muscle, and like every muscle, it weakens when it's untrained. The more you let your mind jump, the harder it becomes to stay still. The more you give into distraction, the harder it becomes to focus. But the opposite is also true. The more you train your attention, the stronger your control becomes. That's the law of mental conditioning. The elite, soldiers, athletes, performers, all share one trait: focus. They know how to lock in. They can silence the noise. They can direct thought like a laser. They don't waste energy on mental clutter. They control what gets airtime in their head, because they know where focus goes, identity grows. Say it again. Where focus goes, identity grows. Whatever you consistently think about, you become. Whatever you give attention to expands. If your focus is on fear, fear grows. If your focus is on problems, problems multiply. But if your focus is on growth, growth compounds. That's not motivation. That's neurology. Your brain literally rewires itself around what you feed it. That's how powerful attention is. Every thought you repeat builds a pattern. Every pattern builds a pathway. And every pathway becomes personality. So the question is, what are you rehearsing in your mind every day? Are you rehearsing excuses? Are you rehearsing fear? Or are you rehearsing control, discipline, and execution? Because if your inner world is chaotic, no system will save you. You can't build structure on mental sand. Mental discipline begins with awareness. You must become the watcher of your own thoughts. Don't identify with every idea your brain produces. You're not your thoughts. You're the one commanding them. When the mind says, I can't, you answer, then I'll train until I can. When it says, I'm tired, you answer, and I'm still moving. When it says, this is pointless, you answer, that's the voice of weakness, not wisdom. That's how you lead your thoughts instead of being led by them. Train your mind like you train your body. You don't get stronger by reading about it. You get stronger by reps. Here are your focus drills, your mental push-ups. Drill 1, breathe. When distraction hits, come back to breath. Inhale through your nose for 4 counts. Hold. Exhale through your mouth for 4 counts. You're teaching your nervous system to obey command, not chaos. Drill 2, reset. Every time you catch your thoughts drifting, say out loud, reset. Bring your attention back to what matters. One task, one goal, one moment. That's the rep, that's focus and action. Drill 3, command. Give your mind orders like a soldier gives commands. I'm present. I'm focused. I'm executing. You speak it until your brain believes it, because that's how thought discipline is built. Repetition with intention. You can't eliminate every negative thought, but you can train your response to them, and that's all that matters. Control isn't about silence. It's about selection. Your goal isn't to think less. It's to think right, to give energy only to what builds you, to deny attention to what breaks you. The strongest minds are not quiet because they never struggle. They're quiet because they control their internal dialogue. They decide what gets volume. They decide what gets ignored. You have that same power. You just have to claim it. So, from now on, when your thoughts begin to spiral, pause, breathe, reset, command. That's your new sequence. That's your mental operating system. Remember, your external life will never outrun your internal focus. You can have the perfect plan, perfect opportunity, perfect timing. But if your thoughts are divided, you'll sabotage yourself. Every thought is a vote. You're either voting for power or for weakness, for growth or for decay, for control or for chaos. That's why thought discipline matters, because it decides every other discipline. If you master your thoughts, you master your emotions. If you master your emotions, you master your habits. And if you master your habits, you master your results. That's the chain of control. That's the path to mastery. So stop calling it overthinking. Start calling it undertraining. Your thoughts don't need to disappear. They need to be directed. Feel the noise? Breathe. Feel the pull of distraction? Reset. Feel the wave of doubt? Command. Say it again. Where focus goes, identity grows. Because focus is power. And power grows where attention is aimed. You have a choice. You can let your mind be a playground for fear, or you can make a fortress for discipline. That's the choice of mastery. That's the choice of leadership. That's how you weaponize your thoughts instead of being wounded by them. You've learned how to build systems, structure, and inner strength. Now it's time to master a battlefield that destroys most people, the battlefield of words. Because thought leads a language, and language leads to reality. Chapter 8. Identity is built, not discovered. Stop looking for yourself. Start designing yourself. Who you think you are isn't some deep, mystical truth. Who you think you are is a habit of thought. And if you don't like who you are, change the thoughts. That's the key. Most people live under the illusion that identity is something you find, like a treasure buried somewhere deep inside of you. They spend years on self-discovery journeys, looking for the real them, but that's just another form of excuse. You don't discover your identity. You forge it. You act a new identity before you feel it. That's how change works. Behavior creates belief, not the other way around. You have a choice. You can let your identity be shaped by your feelings, or you can shape your feelings through your actions. It's not about discovering the real you. It's about creating the real you. If you wait until you feel confident to act confidently, you'll never act. If you wait until you feel strong to start pushing yourself, you'll stay weak. If you wait until you feel worthy to make moves, you'll always be stuck. Action precedes identity. The world doesn't care what you feel about yourself. It cares about what you do. Your actions define who you are, not your intentions. If you want to be more disciplined, act disciplined. If you want to be more confident, act confidently. If you want to be more focused, act like someone who is focused. You don't have to wait until your mind believes in the new version of you. You just have to start acting like the version you want to become. That's the truth. And that's where most people get it wrong. You can't change your identity through thoughts alone. You can't just wish yourself into a new reality. You have to do your way into the identity you want. Stop being a passenger in your own life. Start being the architect. Start designing yourself. The life you want isn't out there to find. It's inside of you to create. Think about it. Every action you take, every decision you make, every thought you repeat, it all adds up. It's building your identity piece by piece. The way you act today is setting the foundation for who you become tomorrow. When you wake up, you're not just deciding who you are in that moment. You're deciding who you're going to be by what you do. You're deciding whether you'll live in the past version of yourself or move toward the person you're becoming. You're always forging yourself. Always. And if you want to forge a new identity, you have to start by acting like that person. This is where people get stuck. They think their actions will follow their feelings. They think, I'll act confident when I feel confident. But that's backwards. You have to act first. Confidence isn't a feeling. It's a behavior. Discipline isn't a feeling. It's a behavior. Focus isn't a feeling. It's a behavior. Every time you act in alignment with the identity you want, it becomes a brick in your identity foundation. And over time, those bricks build a house you live in. I don't find myself. I forge myself. That's the mantra. It's not about waiting for the world to reveal who you are. It's about creating yourself through deliberate action. It's about showing up as the person you want to be and letting your behavior define your belief. This is where the world separates the winners from the wanderers. The winners act their way into success. The wanderers wait for success to come to them. They think their identity will appear when they figure out or when they feel ready. But readiness isn't a feeling. Readiness is a decision. Readiness is action. You want to be a leader? Act like one. You want to be a disciplined person? Show up disciplined. You want to be a person of integrity? Make integrity your habit, not your idea. That's how identities shift. Not through thought, not through intention, through action. The process is simple but not easy. Decide who you want to become. Start acting like that person. Reinforce the behavior until it becomes you. Repeat. You must become the person who does what they say they'll do. You must become the person who follows through. You must become the person who builds discipline one day at a time. Remember, identity isn't something that happens to you. It's something you make happen. Every day, every decision, every action. It's time to stop asking, who am I? And start asking, who am I becoming? The power of your identity is in your hands. You have the power to shape it. And the way to shape it is through consistent, deliberate action. You can't wait for life to hand you your identity. You can't wait for the world to reveal who you are. You have to forge yourself. And in the process, you'll realize you are not who you were yesterday. You are who you choose to be today. This is how you create a new self. This is how you shift your identity. You don't discover it. You design it. You've learned how to take control of your thoughts and emotions. Now it's time to take control of your language and self-talk, because the words you speak shape the world you live in. Chapter 9. Ruthless consistency beats occasional greatness. Discipline is not about intensity. It's about repetition. It's not about those big, rare moments where you push hard. It's about what you do every single day without fail. Heroes aren't built in moments. They're built in routines. What you do consistently is who you are, not your big efforts, not your occasional bursts of greatness. It's the small, mundane actions that add up over time. Here's the reality. Most people wait for motivation. They wait for the perfect moment. They wait for some wave of inspiration to hit them so they can finally make a change. But they miss the truth. Motivation is fleeting. It's temporary. It's unreliable. You can't live based on motivation. That's the trap. You have to live based on discipline. And discipline is about what you do when you don't feel like it. That's the difference. The few who make it, the ones who succeed, they don't wait for motivation to come. They build momentum through consistent action. They act when they don't feel like it. They show up when the spark of motivation isn't there. They create the fire, not wait for it. That's the key. Momentum is built through ruthless consistency. It's not about hitting home runs every time. It's about stepping up to plate every time, no matter how you feel. And that's where most people fail. They expect greatness to happen in bursts. They believe that greatness is a series of heroic moments. It's not. Greatness is a habit. Consistency is confidence in motion. Say it again. Consistency is confidence in motion. Every time you show up, you build confidence in your ability to succeed. Every small step forward reinforces your belief in your own power. But you can't get there without showing up every single day. No exceptions. Think about the greats in any field. Athletes, business leaders, musicians, writers. They don't rely on flashes of brilliance. They rely on consistent effort, day in and day out. They aren't perfect. They just don't stop. That's what separates those who thrive from those who fade. It's not about having some extraordinary moment. It's about having an extraordinary routine. And that's where you're going to win. You'll win by doing the work, by sticking to the routine, even when it feels like nothing is changing. Because every step forward, no matter how small, brings you closer to your goal. So stop waiting for motivation. Stop looking for that spark that's going to ignite everything. Start showing up every day without fail. That's how momentum builds. That's how success is built. Here's the secret. Momentum isn't magical. It's mechanical. Momentum is a force created by consistency, repetition, and action. The more you move, the easier it gets to keep moving. The more you build, the faster it grows. And here's where most people get it wrong. They think they'll only succeed when they're giving 100% every day. But the reality is, success doesn't need 100% effort. It needs 100% consistency. You don't need to give your all every single day. You just need to show up. You just need to put in the work, no matter how you feel. Because some days you won't feel like it. Some days you'll be tired. Some days you'll be frustrated. But it doesn't matter. Consistency wins, not intensity. That's the difference between average and extraordinary. It's not about making one great move. It's about making the same great move every day. So, how do you make this work for you? How do you build that level of consistency? Step 1. Build your routine, not your motivation. Your routine should not depend on your mood. You don't wait until you feel motivated to work out. You don't wait until you feel motivated to do your work. You make the routine a non-negotiable. Motivation is a bonus, not a requirement. Step 2. Start small but never stop. Don't expect to make big changes overnight. Start with the small stuff. Make it easy to succeed, and then build from there. The goal isn't perfection. The goal is consistency. Step 3. Embrace the grind. The grind isn't glamorous. It's not Instagram worthy, but it's where you build your power. You got to show up and do the work every single day, no matter how you feel, no matter how hard it seems. Step 4. Reinforce your progress. Every day you show up, you build your belief. Every action you take strengthens a habit. You're stacking wins, even when it doesn't feel like it. Track your progress, no matter how small. Consistency doesn't always look like success in the short term, but it builds it in the long term. Remember, consistency is confidence in motion. If you can build that habit of showing up, no matter what, you will win. Because when you show up, you build momentum. And momentum is the engine that drives long-term success. The grind will feel like a struggle sometimes. But when you've committed to consistency, it stops being a struggle. It becomes a part of who you are. And that's when the results come. You've mastered your mindset, your habits, your emotions. Now, let's talk about how you level up your environment, because it's time to surround yourself with what elevates you. Chapter 10. The mind you master defines the life you live. Every victory, every failure, every direction your life takes begins in one place. Your mind. The battlefield isn't out there. It's in here. Before you take action, before you speak, before you move, your mind has already decided who you are and how far you'll go. The mind you master defines the life you live. That's the law. That's the truth. That's the foundation of everything. Your external world is just a reflection of your internal command center. If your mind is cluttered, your life will be chaotic. If your mind is disciplined, your life will be directed. The difference between success and stagnation isn't luck. It's mental leadership. You are either the master of your mind or the servant of it. There is no middle ground. When you don't lead your thoughts, they lead you. When you don't choose your focus, distraction chooses for you. When you don't program your beliefs, fear writes the script. That's why mental mastery isn't optional. It's survival. Step 1. Own your thoughts. The first step to mastering your mind is ownership. You are not your thoughts. You are the thinker of them. That means you can control, replace, and redirect them at will. Most people live as prisoners of their own thinking. They believe every negative thought their brain feeds them. I can't. I'm not ready. I don't have what it takes. They let those sentences become their story. But here's the truth. You control the story. You can rewrite it at any moment. You can decide to think differently, to speak differently, to live differently. Your brain is like clay. It takes the shape of whatever hands mold it. So start molding it with purpose. Every time a disempowering thought appears, don't just observe it. Challenge it. Ask, does this thought serve me or sabotage me? And if it sabotages you, replace it. Replace I can't with I will. Replace I'm not ready with I'm preparing. Replace I don't have what it takes with I'm building what it takes. That's how you take back control, one thought at a time. Step 2, train your focus. Your focus is your weapon. Where focus goes, energy flows and identity grows. If you focus on what's wrong, you'll find more wrong. If you focus on what's missing, you'll live in lack. If you focus on what's possible, you'll create progress. Most people scatter their focus like confetti. They give their attention to everything that doesn't matter: gossip, comparison, distraction. And then they wonder why they feel powerless. The key is to direct your focus like a laser. When you wake up, decide what matters. When distraction shows up, remember your mission. When your emotions try to pull you away, return to your focus point. That's the discipline. To bring your mind back to what matters most, again and again and again. Step 3. Control your emotions. Emotions aren't enemies. They're energy. But energy without direction is destruction. Anger, fear, frustration, doubt. They're not signs of weakness. They're signals. They're telling you to pay attention, to adjust, to take control. You have a choice. You can let emotions drive your behavior, or you can drive your emotions toward your purpose. That's the key difference between the average and the elite. The average person reacts. The elite responds. Feel it, but don't drown in it. Use the emotion as fuel. Turn fear into focus. Turn anger into action. Turn pain into progress. Remember this mantra. Feel it, focus it, fire it. That's how emotional mastery becomes mental mastery. Step 4. Reframe reality. Your mind doesn't see reality. It creates it. You don't experience the world as it is. You experience it as you are. Two people can face the same event and walk away with opposite stories. One calls it failure. The other calls it feedback. One gives up. The other grows stronger. The difference isn't the event. It's the interpretation. When something difficult happens, you have one task: reframe it. Say to yourself, this isn't happening to me. It's happening for me. That's not delusion. That's discipline. That's how you shift from victim to architect. Because the truth is, your perception is your power. Change your perception, and you change your possibilities. Step 5. Speak with power. Your words program your mind. Every word you say is an instruction to your subconscious. When you speak weakness, you strengthen weakness. When you speak power, you strengthen power. Say it out loud. I am focused. I am capable. I am becoming who I was meant to be. Don't wait to feel it before you say it. Say it until you feel it. That's how identity is built. That's how belief becomes behavior. Stop using language that limits you. Start using language that leads you. Your words are the bridge between your mind and your world. Build wisely. Step 6. Practice ruthless consistency. Mental mastery isn't built in a single moment of inspiration. It's built in thousands of quiet moments of repetition. The small choices, the daily disciplines, the thoughts you catch before they control you. Consistency is the great separator. Anyone can be sharp for a day. Few can stay sharp for a lifetime. It's not about perfection. It's about persistence. Every time you choose discipline over distraction, you strengthen the system. You don't rise to your potential. You fall to your training. Train your mind daily, and success becomes inevitable. Final truth: your mind is your kingdom. Guard it, direct it, command it, because the moment you master it, everything else follows. You'll stop being a passenger in your own life. You'll become the driver, deliberate, focused, unshakable. Every external victory starts with an internal command. Every life you admire began with someone who mastered their mind. So here's your command: master your mind. Master your world. Don't wait for motivation. Don't wait for permission. Don't wait for the right time. The right time is now. The right person is you. And the right mindset starts today. Closing. Your mind will test you every single day. It will whisper reasons, temptations, and fear. But from this moment forward, you know the truth. Weakness speaks. Strength acts. You don't need more time, motivation, or permission. You need command. Every thought is either training you or trapping you. Every emotion is either fuel or fire. Every second is a decision between mastery and surrender. So make your choice now. Master your mind before it masters you. Because if you don't, it already has.